I've personally suffered with erectile dysfunction, and I've used both Viagra and Cialis at times to help me get better erections. If you're considering either of these medications, you might be curious as to what it feels like to take these and how it affects your erections. Hey, I'm Ryan Mack, sex coach and educator, and it's my goal to help you be the best lover you can be and get the best erections possible. And while now I mostly take supplements and do certain exercises to maintain those strong, hard erections, in the past and at times I still use these drugs in order to get erections when I need them. I'm sharing this video to help you understand what it might feel like to take these, but this is not to be considered as medical advice. This is just my personal experience, and you should always speak to a doctor before taking any of these medications. See, I was with one sexual partner for the majority of my life, and I never had any erectile dysfunction issues. It worked just fine. But when the world opened up to me and I started dating and sleeping with new people, I noticed that the first time that I was with someone, I would get quite nervous and I would lose my erection. It was almost a coin flip as to whether or not I would be able to get hard and stay hard. And this obviously created a lot of anxiety. And the worse my anxiety got, the worse my erections got when I was with people. I found that once I was with a partner for a while, I'd get comfortable, but it was really in those first interactions where you want to make a good impression on someone that my erections just weren't working the way that I wanted them to. So I've used Viagra in doses of 25 to 100 milligrams and Cialis in doses of 5 to 20 milligrams. Many guys suffering with erectile dysfunction turn to one of these drugs, and honestly, they do work really well for a lot of people. And if you've never taken it before, you might be wondering what it feels like, so here's my experience. For both Viagra and Cialis, you don't just take it and then automatically get a hard-on without any external stimulation. You still need to be either stimulated by touch or be aroused in order for the erection to come on. So if I was to take it and things weren't to progress to the bedroom, then it wasn't like I had this big erection that I just couldn't keep down. However, after about 20 to 30 minutes after taking them, I would notice more sensation in my penis. It felt like it was more full of blood even before I was aroused. I noticed that erections came a lot easier and they stayed around a lot longer. So rather than maybe getting an erection and then losing it quite quickly, it was very easy to get that erection and it would just stay for much longer periods of time and it would go down slower. I also needed less stimulation in order to get an erection. So sometimes even making out with someone, I would get extremely hard. I could also feel my penis more acutely, and you know how you can kind of tense your muscles to make your penis bounce up and down? I found that that was easier as well. I found that I was still able to get it up even if I was a little bit nervous. I also noticed that my penis tended to stay in a larger state when flaccid and was less likely to go completely small and flaccid. I found that taking Viagra or Cialis actually minimized my nerves because I was more confident that I'd be able to get an erection. So not only is it working on the body, but it also works on the mind if you suffer with performance anxiety. Now, when it comes to Viagra and Cialis, there are some major differences with the two drugs, and I should probably do a whole video on this alone. And while different people can respond to them differently, here's my experiences. So both of them worked very well for me, but I know they do not work for everyone. See, Viagra and Cialis are what's known as Pd5 inhibitors. So when you get an erection, your body also produces something called phosphodiesterase 5, which breaks down the nitric oxide to reduce your erection. So what these drugs do is actually inhibit the production of PDE5 so your erection stays around for longer. This means you still need to be able to get an erection in the first place for these to work. Now, if you're struggling to get an erection in the first place, or you want to be able to get an erection easier, then supplements can really help with this. There's a variety of supplements that I take that have had a huge impact on my erections, to the point where I feel like I'm a teenager sometime and you just get the erections almost uncontrollably. It feels so great to be in that position again, and I very rarely, if ever, need to use Viagra or Cialis Cialis anymore. If you want to see the supplements that I take and the reasons why I take them and all the studies behind it, go to passionately.com/ED and you can get behind the scenes access to my full supplement stack over there. You can also sign up for the newsletter where I send you regular emails and tips on how to be the best lover that you can be. And some of the stuff that I share through email, I don't share on YouTube. So go to passionately.com/ED to sign up for the newsletter and get access to the supplements that I take for better erections. Back to Viagra and Cialis, I noticed that with Viagra, I would get hot flushes in my face when I took it. It felt similar to being a bit tipsy, and most people I was with wouldn't even notice that this was happening. And while it's not a registered side effect, I did notice that sometimes when taking Viagra, I would get an upset stomach the next day. Some people say that Viagra can affect your vision and Cialis is more likely to give you back pain, and different people experience different side effects. So work with your doctor, and if you're experiencing side effects, talk to them. Now, Viagra is shorter lived while Cialis is more longer lasting. I noticed the effects of Viagra would work for around 4 to 6 hours. Sometimes I would notice the effects lasting longer than that, but really the main bulk of the effect was in that kind of 4 to 6 hour period. Whereas Cialis, on the other hand, gave much longer lasting effects. When taking Viagra, I didn't notice it affecting my morning wood when I woke up, but with Cialis, I would get such strong morning wood that I'd almost feel like I needed to masturbate to get rid of the erection. Now, it wasn't actually a priapism or where you have a prolonged erection for more than 4 hours. If that happens to you, go to hospital immediately. But it was just that my morning wood felt insanely strong, and Cialis on 5 milligrams per day, I noticed a buildup over time of my erection. So the first day I took it wasn't as strong as the second day, and once I was in sort of third to fourth day was when I noticed the full effects, and I didn't really get any stronger effects beyond that. It just maintained. Mentally, I found I preferred Cialis to really take the pressure off things. So when I was taking Viagra, I'd go out on dates. I wasn't sure if we were going to have sex or not, so I didn't want to take the Viagra if we weren't going to have sex. And I'd be on the date thinking about, is this going to progress to sex? Is it not? And then I would have to somehow find a way to take the Viagra without her knowing. This kind of just added some stress to the experience, whereas Cialis, I could take it daily and I would take it before I was on the date, so I just didn't need to think about it. Didn't need to worry it, which allowed me to be more present, and I wasn't thinking about when am I going to have to take my pill, how am I going to do this so she doesn't notice. It was just so much more relaxing. However, I do feel like Viagra's effects were stronger. So if I was going into a situation where I know that I was going to be really nervous, then Cialis would help a little bit, but I found Viagra to be way more effective. On both medications, I felt I lasted way longer in bed, but also I felt like I was able to be more vigorous and a more passionate lover. I think this just comes down to the confidence I had in my erection, but also when you're doing very vigorous love making, all of that intense exercise and thrusting can cause you to lose your erections when you're going really hard, but when you have Viagra or Cialis, you're less likely to lose it. So I felt like I could go hard for longer. When it comes to my partners, some partners were upset if they found out that I was using it, while other partners were completely fine with it, and some partners even encouraged me to use it if they wanted to have a long lovemaking session. Because of the supplements that I take and the exercises that I do, I no longer feel the need to use either of these medications on a regular basis. However, if I have a big event, I'm really tired, or I know that I'm going to be nervous and this is going to cause me to struggle to get it up, then I will use it occasionally. Both of these medications are extremely common in the swinging and kink scene, as being around a lot of other people can make a lot of guys nervous. And for many guys going swinging for the first time, they find it's all very exciting. They've got an opportunity to sleep with new people, but they just can't get it up at all because they're too nervous, they're too overstimulated, and so it can really help. Inside my course on how to get healthier, harder, bigger erections, I talk about the natural things that you can do in order to achieve that, but I also talk about the medical options available to you and how you can bring up this delicate subject with your doctor so you don't feel embarrassed and you can get the help that you need. Click the link in the description or go to passionately.com/ED course to learn more about that detailed course and whether it's right for you. But if you seriously want to take control of your erection, erections and you want natural ways to get firmer, harder erections, then you should really go ahead and check it out. Otherwise, for some more free, helpful information, go ahead and check out this video on the different foods that you can eat that help with erectile dysfunction.